Limitations are often seen as external forces, obstacles placed in our path by circumstance, society, or other people. We grow up learning rules, norms, and boundaries that shape our perception of what is achievable. From a young age, messages from teachers, peers, and even well-meaning family members begin to define what is possible and what is not. Over time, these messages settle deep into our subconscious, forming invisible chains that quietly dictate our choices and ambitions. The truth, however, is that these boundaries are rarely real. They exist only because we have accepted them, because we have been conditioned to believe in them, and because we have internalized the fear that stepping beyond them is too risky or unattainable. Every individual carries within them an innate potential that is far greater than what they typically allow themselves to see. This potential is not measured by conventional markers of success or societal expectations. It exists independently of degrees, job titles, or accolades. It is the capacity to learn, adapt, and create, to innovate in ways that feel impossible at first glance. Yet, time and again, people fail to realize this potential because they look outward for validation rather than inward for strength. The moment we recognize that limitations are self-imposed, the first step toward true freedom emerges. Fear is one of the most insidious tools that reinforces perceived limitations. Fear whispers that you cannot succeed, that you are not enough, that attempting something beyond your current reach is foolish or reckless. It masks itself in logic, in reason, in cautionary advice, making it feel responsible and wise. But fear is not a measure of reality. It is a measure of doubt, a reflection of uncertainty projected onto the future. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not often lies in the ability to move forward despite fear, to recognize it, acknowledge it, and yet refuse to let it dictate action. Another element that convinces people of their limits is comparison. In a world that constantly displays the achievements of others, it is easy to assume that someone else's success is proof of what you cannot achieve. Social media, news stories, and personal encounters can create the illusion that greatness is reserved for a select few. This comparison feeds self-imposed limitations, because it shifts focus from one's own journey to the perceived accomplishments of others. Yet every successful person has faced their own invisible barriers, their own doubts and fears, and their own moments of near defeat. What separates them is not an absence of obstacles, but an understanding that limitations are often self-created. Expectations from society and the people around us also contribute to the narrative of limitation. From childhood, there is an unspoken code about what is realistic, appropriate, or achievable. Teachers might say, "This is the level you should aim for." Family members may caution against taking risks. Friends might unconsciously enforce conformity by laughing off ambitious ideas. Each of these influences, though often well-intentioned, can erode belief in oneself and cement the idea that the world is a place of limits rather than possibilities. Education, while empowering in many ways, can also inadvertently reinforce boundaries. Systems that reward conformity and standardization often teach that there is a right way to succeed. When creativity, curiosity, and unconventional thinking are not nurtured, individuals begin to internalize the belief that their unique ideas are impractical or impossible. Yet history is full of people who shattered expectations precisely because they refused to accept the constraints imposed upon them. Their achievements illustrate that when limitations are self-imposed, breaking free requires courage, resilience, and self-belief. Self-doubt is perhaps the most personal and persistent form of limitation. It creeps in quietly, questioning motives, abilities, and worthiness. It often disguises itself as humility or realism, convincing individuals that their ambitions are too ambitious or that they lack the necessary skills to succeed. Yet self-doubt Doubt is not a truth. It is a narrative we tell ourselves, a story that can be rewritten with conscious effort. The moment we recognize doubt as an internal barrier rather than a reflection of reality, the possibility for growth becomes enormous. Perception shapes reality. If we perceive the world as limited, we will navigate it cautiously, avoiding risk, avoiding challenge, and avoiding the unknown. But if we perceive the world as full of opportunity, as a place where growth, discovery, and achievement are always within reach, we begin to act differently. Every action becomes a step toward expansion, and every failure becomes a lesson rather than proof of inadequacy. The shift from seeing limits as external truths to recognizing them as self-imposed perceptions is transformative in its depth and impact. Breaking free from self-imposed limitations requires intentionality. It is not a single act, but a process of consistently challenging internal narratives that tell you you can't. It involves questioning assumptions, experimenting with new approaches, embracing discomfort, and learning from every experience. It requires an unwavering belief that your potential is not fixed, that you are capable of growth far beyond what you have imagined, and that the world is a canvas for possibilities rather than a cage of impossibilities. Ultimately, the recognition that limitations are self-imposed is empowering because it places the responsibility and the power squarely in your hands. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, the judgment of others, or the constraints of your past. Every barrier, every obstacle, every impossible scenario can be approached differently when you understand that it exists largely because you have allowed it to exist. By questioning those limitations, by daring to see beyond them, and by acting with courage, you open the door to a life in which the boundaries of what is achievable are constantly expanding. Every individual possesses a spark, a unique source of energy and potential that exists independently of circumstance, talent, or opportunity. This spark is the essence of who you are at your core. It is the combination of your curiosity, creativity, resilience, and drive. While it may be quiet at times, often overshadowed by fear, doubt, or the noise of daily life, it is always there, waiting to be recognized and nurtured. The spark is not a superficial trait. It is not simply motivation or a fleeting sense of inspiration. It is the deep, inherent belief that you have within you the capacity to create, to overcome, and to transform the world around you. Many people underestimate the power of this spark because they measure potential through conventional achievements rather than innate capability. They look at diplomas, titles, awards, or wealth and assume that only those who have amassed such external markers have true power. Yet the spark does not reside in external validation. It resides within you, often untapped and unseen, and its power is magnified not by comparison to others, but by your willingness to believe in it and act upon it. When this spark is recognized and harnessed, it becomes a force that can drive innovation, transformation, and impact in ways that seem impossible from the outside. The spark is what allows ordinary individuals to achieve extraordinary things. It is present in the person who dares to start a business from nothing, in the artist who creates beauty from raw emotion, in the scientist who pursues a discovery long before it is recognized, and in the leader who inspires others to rise above their own limitations. These achievements are not born from luck, privilege, or circumstance alone. They are born from the recognition and activation of the spark within the ability to persist, to create, and to inspire, even in the face of adversity. Fear often hides the spark from view. The fear of failure, of judgment, or of inadequacy can make the spark feel distant or unreachable. People may believe that their ideas, talents, or ambitions are insignificant or unworthy of pursuit. Yet the spark is resilient. It does not disappear because of fear. Fear may make it flicker, it may dim its brightness temporarily, but the spark remains alive, waiting for the courage to fan it into a flame. It is in moments of discomfort, challenge, and uncertainty that the spark can shine the brightest, illuminating paths that were once invisible. The spark thrives on curiosity and action. It is not a passive energy that exists only in dreams or imagination. It is awakened and strengthened by exploration, experimentation, and the willingness to try. Every small action taken to pursue growth, to learn, to push beyond comfort zones, feeds the spark. Even failures, setbacks, and mistakes are fuel for its growth because they provide lessons, resilience, and experience. In this way, the spark is self-reinforcing. The more you engage with it, the more it grows, and the more it grows, the more capable you become of achieving things you once thought impossible. Connection to purpose magnifies the spark exponentially. When your actions align with your values, passions, and vision, the spark becomes a guiding light that fuels determination and creativity. Purpose gives context to potential. Without purpose, energy can dissipate into distractions or unfulfilled ambition. But with purpose, even the smallest steps become meaningful, and the spark becomes a catalyst for focused, intentional, and sustained action that leads to real transformation. The spark also has a ripple effect on those around you. When someone recognizes and acts upon their inner spark, it inspires others to recognize theirs. Leadership, innovation, and progress often start with one person who refuses to remain dormant, who chooses to act despite uncertainty, who chooses to believe in their own potential. That single spark can ignite many others, creating a chain reaction of possibility and achievement that extends far beyond the individual. Persistence is the key to keeping the spark alive. Challenges, failures, and setbacks are inevitable in any meaningful pursuit, but the spark endures through commitment and resilience. Every time you return to your goals after being knocked down, every time you choose to act despite doubt, the spark grows stronger. It is not about never encountering obstacles. It is about refusing to let them extinguish the potential that exists within you. Recognizing your spark requires self-awareness and reflection. It requires stepping back from the noise of expectations, comparisons, and external pressures to ask, what drives me? What excites me? What can I create or achieve that feels uniquely mine? These questions are gateways to understanding the spark and learning how to harness it. The answers are rarely instantaneous. They emerge through practice, exploration, and the willingness to take risks. The spark is a reminder that potential is not fixed. It is a living, breathing force within you that can grow, expand, and transform your life when nurtured. It is the difference between surviving and thriving, between existing within limitations and creating possibilities that extend beyond what you thought imaginable. It is a source of courage, creativity, and resilience that, once recognized, becomes the engine that powers extraordinary achievement and the foundation for a life defined by purpose and fulfillment. Obstacles are an inevitable part of life. Everyone encounters them, regardless of talent, preparation, or ambition. They appear as challenges at work, setbacks in personal relationships, financial struggles, or internal battles of doubt and fear. For many, obstacles feel like walls, insurmountable barriers that block progress and test resolve. But obstacles are not inherently negative. They are not meant to define your limits or determine your worth. They exist to measure commitment, to challenge assumptions, and to reveal the strength that lies dormant within you, waiting to be activated through action and resilience. The way we perceive obstacles determines the role they play in our lives. If we see them as threats, as proof of inadequacy, or as signs to retreat, they will feel heavier and more impossible to overcome. They will appear as immovable mountains and as evidence that the world is against us. But if we see obstacles as opportunities to grow, to learn, and to strengthen our character, they become tools rather than threats. Each obstacle becomes a test of creativity, persistence, and courage, revealing what we are truly capable of when we refuse to give up. Obstacles are rarely random. Often, they arrive precisely because we are on a path worth pursuing, because the journey challenges us to expand, adapt, and evolve. They force us to confront weaknesses, rethink strategies, and embrace new approaches. Life has a way of testing those who aim high, who dream big, and who refuse to settle for mediocrity. These tests are not punishments. They are invitations to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable than we imagined possible. The obstacles themselves carry lessons, if only we are willing to look beyond the discomfort they bring. One of the most important lessons obstacles teach is patience. Progress rarely occurs in a straight line. Setbacks, failures, and unexpected difficulties are part of the process, not deviations from it. Patience allows you to endure the long journey without losing focus or motivation. It enables you to continue even when immediate results are not visible, and when every step forward feels like a struggle. By learning to navigate obstacles with patience, you cultivate the resilience required to sustain effort over the long term, transforming challenges into milestones of growth rather than signs of defeat. Obstacles also test the depth of our belief in ourselves. When the path is smooth, confidence comes easily. But when difficulties arise, belief is tested. Will you continue to act, to persevere, and to pursue your vision even when the world seems to push back? Or will you let doubt and fear dictate your choices? The most successful individuals do not avoid obstacles. They embrace them as part of the journey, knowing that each challenge overcome reinforces their capability and strengthens the foundation of their self-belief. Creativity often emerges most powerfully in the face of obstacles. When the obvious path is blocked, new solutions, strategies, and perspectives must be discovered. The challenge forces the mind to think differently, to innovate, and to adapt in ways that would not have been necessary otherwise. Obstacles act as catalysts for ingenuity, pushing individuals beyond routine thinking and encouraging breakthroughs that transform both personal and professional endeavors. In this sense, obstacles are not just tests, they are opportunities for evolution. The way we respond to obstacles shapes the trajectory of our lives. People who see obstacles as insurmountable often stagnate, allowing fear and frustration to control their decisions. People who see obstacles as challenges to be overcome rise. They develop discipline, resourcefulness, and resilience. They learn to pivot, to adjust, and to find creative solutions when conventional methods fail. Each obstacle, once faced, becomes a stepping stone, a lesson learned, and a marker of progress on the path to achievement. Support and mentorship can play a role in navigating obstacles, but they cannot replace the internal resolve required to move forward. While guidance can provide perspective and advice, the responsibility for overcoming challenges ultimately rests with the individual. It is a personal commitment to resilience, determination, and belief in one's abilities that transforms obstacles from roadblocks into opportunities. This internal strength is cultivated through experience, reflection, and the conscious choice to persevere. Obstacles also teach humility and perspective. They remind us that life is not entirely within our control and that success is rarely instantaneous or easy. Facing difficulties fosters empathy, patience, and the understanding that others, too, are navigating unseen challenges. These lessons deepen character and help individuals approach life with balance, wisdom, and a recognition that every struggle contributes to growth, resilience, and eventual success. Ultimately, obstacles are not indicators of impossibility. They are measures of commitment, strength, and courage. They force introspection, ignite creativity, and reveal the depth of self-belief. By reframing obstacles as opportunities rather than threats, individuals discover that what initially seemed insurmountable is, in reality, a stepping stone to achievement, a teacher of resilience. and a testament to the power that lies within when one refuses to surrender to fear or doubt. Belief in yourself is not simply a fleeting feeling or a momentary surge of confidence. It is a deliberate choice, an intentional act that requires consistency, courage, and commitment. Every day, we are confronted with challenges, doubts, and external opinions that test the strength of our conviction. To truly believe in yourself means to consciously decide that your potential, abilities, and vision are valid, even when the world may try to convince you otherwise. It is a decision to trust your judgment, to honor your instincts, and to pursue your goals with unwavering determination. Self-belief is not about arrogance or overestimating your abilities. It is about understanding your worth and acknowledging your capacity to grow, learn, and achieve. It is about recognizing that mistakes, failures, and setbacks are not evidence of inadequacy, but opportunities to develop resilience and wisdom. Belief in yourself allows you to embrace challenges without fear, to take risks that others might avoid, and to act decisively when uncertainty is high. Without this foundation, even the most talented individuals may falter, for talent alone cannot carry a person through the inevitable obstacles of life. Choosing to believe in yourself requires separating your self-worth from external validation. Society often teaches us to measure our abilities by approval from others, but self-belief is independent of praise, recognition, or accolades. It is an internal compass that guides action regardless of outside opinion. When you rely solely on external validation, your confidence becomes fragile, subject to the moods, judgments, and expectations of others. Belief in yourself, by contrast, is a stable and enduring force, rooted in the knowledge that your capacity to grow and achieve exists with or without acknowledgement from the outside world. Belief in yourself is strengthened by action. Confidence grows not by simply thinking positively, but by confronting challenges and achieving results, however small. Each time you take a step forward despite fear, each time you persist in the face of doubt, your belief in yourself becomes more resilient. Action transforms abstract faith into tangible proof, showing that you are capable of navigating complexity, solving problems, and accomplishing goals. The act of doing becomes the evidence that fuels further belief, creating a positive cycle that strengthens your resolve and expands your potential. Belief in yourself is tested most during adversity, when the path is difficult, when obstacles appear insurmountable, and when doubt creeps in. The choice to trust yourself becomes critical. Those who succeed are not those who face no challenges. They are those who maintain faith in their own abilities when circumstances are toughest. Every challenge becomes a measure of self-belief, an opportunity to reinforce the conviction that you are capable of more than you previously imagined. Adversity, in this sense, is not an enemy but a proving ground for inner strength. Belief in yourself also requires clarity of purpose. When you know what you want and why it matters, belief is easier to sustain. Purpose acts as a compass, guiding decisions and reinforcing confidence. Without direction, self-belief can waver, as uncertainty about goals undermines conviction. But when your actions are aligned with your values, passions, and vision, self-belief becomes an anchor, allowing you to navigate uncertainty and remain committed to your journey even when the world seems to resist your progress. Inner dialogue plays a crucial role in sustaining belief in yourself. The stories we tell ourselves, the way we interpret experiences, and the language we use in our minds shape our confidence and perception of possibility. Negative self-talk, doubt, and harsh judgment can weaken belief, while positive reinforcement, affirmation of strengths, and acknowledgement of progress can fortify it. By consciously shaping your internal narrative, you create an environment in which belief in yourself can thrive, even in the face of setbacks or criticism. Belief in yourself inspires action, innovation, and leadership. When you trust your abilities, you are more likely to take initiative, explore new ideas, and lead with confidence. It empowers you to step into unknown territory, to challenge norms, and to influence others positively. Conversely, self-doubt can paralyze potential, keeping brilliant ideas and talents dormant. Belief in yourself bridges the gap between vision and execution, transforming possibility into reality through action. Building self-belief is a continuous process. It is nurtured through experience, reflection, learning, and resilience. Every success, every lesson learned from failure, every risk taken contributes to its growth. It is reinforced by consistent effort, the courage to embrace discomfort, and the commitment to pursue goals despite uncertainty. Unlike temporary confidence, belief in yourself deepens over time, becoming a reliable foundation that supports ambitious pursuits and sustained achievement. Ultimately, belief in yourself is a conscious, ongoing choice that defines how you approach challenges, opportunities, and your own potential. It is the engine that powers action, fuels resilience, and enables individuals to achieve beyond what seems possible. It is not dependent on external approval, innate talent, or immediate success. It is a force cultivated from within, strengthened through practice, courage, and commitment, and capable of carrying you through the most difficult paths toward extraordinary outcomes. Action is the bridge between possibility and reality. Dreams, ideas, and goals remain abstract until they are paired with decisive effort. Many people believe that thinking, planning, or visualizing is enough to achieve success. But the truth is that action is the critical ingredient that transforms potential into results. Every step taken, no matter how small, is a confirmation that you are committed to your vision and willing to do the work required to make it real. Without action, belief in yourself remains a theory rather than a lived experience. The act of taking action builds momentum. Progress is rarely instantaneous, and large goals can feel overwhelming until broken down into manageable steps. Each small action, each decision to move forward despite uncertainty, creates energy and forward motion. Momentum is cumulative. It grows with consistent effort and propels you toward larger achievements. In this way, action not only produces results, but also strengthens your confidence, self-belief, and resilience. Action requires courage because it involves risk, uncertainty, and the possibility of failure. Most people hesitate because they fear making the wrong choice, fear judgment from others, or fear that their efforts will not lead to success. Yet courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to act in spite of it. Every time you take a step forward despite fear, you demonstrate to yourself that your abilities, judgment, and determination are stronger than doubt. Action, fueled by courage, becomes the proving ground for what you are truly capable of achieving. Procrastination is the enemy of action. It disguises itself as preparation, perfectionism, or thoughtful consideration, but in reality it stalls progress. Waiting for the perfect moment or the right conditions often leads to stagnation because perfect conditions rarely exist. The key to overcoming procrastination is to start, even imperfectly, trusting that momentum and learning will refine the process along the way. Action taken now, however imperfect, is infinitely more powerful than planning or waiting indefinitely. Action creates clarity. Often, goals or challenges can feel abstract or confusing until you engage with them directly. By taking steps, experimenting, and testing approaches, you gain insight, learn what works, and adjust your strategies accordingly. Action reveals obstacles and opportunities that remain invisible from a distance. It turns ideas into experience, uncertainty into knowledge, and potential into skill. The act of doing becomes both a teacher and a catalyst for progress. Consistency is what transforms sporadic action into lasting achievement. Occasional bursts of effort produce temporary results, but sustained, disciplined action produces growth, mastery, and long-term impact. Each day of focused effort builds upon the previous, creating a compounding effect that magnifies results over time. The small choices to act regularly, to show up, and to persist in the face of challenges are what separate those who succeed from those who merely dream. Action inspires others. When you take initiative, you demonstrate the possibilities that come from commitment, courage, and belief in oneself. People are drawn to those who act decisively because action generates energy, influence, and confidence. By acting, you set an example, create momentum, and encourage others to engage with their own potential. In this sense, action is not just a personal tool. It is a force that impacts communities, teams, and networks. Reflection and adaptation amplify the power of action. It is not enough to act blindly or without awareness. By evaluating outcomes, learning from mistakes, and refining strategies, action becomes smarter and more effective over time. Experience gained through action is invaluable. It allows you to iterate, grow, and adjust your approach, creating a continuous cycle of improvement that propels you closer to your goals with every step. Action transforms fear into mastery. The unknown, uncertainty, and self-doubt lose their power when confronted through deliberate effort. Each step taken builds competence, reinforces self-belief, and diminishes the paralyzing effects of fear. Over time, challenges that once seemed intimidating become manageable, and confidence grows in proportion to experience and perseverance. Action is the antidote to stagnation, and the mechanism through which courage is solidified into capability. Ultimately, action is the embodiment of belief. Thinking, dreaming, and planning are important, but they are only the beginning. Without action, possibility remains hypothetical, potential unrealized, and belief untested. Each choice to act is a tangible declaration that you are committed to your vision, willing to face challenges, and ready to create results. Action transforms internal conviction into external achievement, proving that what once seemed impossible can be made real through consistent, courageous effort. Believing in yourself is the most powerful tool you can wield because it fundamentally shapes the way you interact with the world. It affects the decisions you make, the risks you take, and the persistence you show in the face of challenges. People who cultivate strong self-belief approach life with an inner confidence that allows them to navigate uncertainty and seize opportunities others might overlook. This belief becomes the lens through which they view possibility, turning obstacles into stepping stones and setbacks into lessons. Self-belief empowers you to set higher goals and pursue ambitions that might otherwise feel unattainable. When you trust in your own capabilities, you refuse to be constrained by the expectations of others or by conventional limits. You begin to see opportunities where others see barriers and recognize potential in situations that might appear hopeless. This mindset shifts the balance of power from external circumstances to your own ability to act, adapt, and achieve. Belief in yourself fosters resilience. Life is unpredictable and challenges are inevitable, but those with strong self-belief are able to persevere when others might give up. Resilience is not just about enduring hardship, it is about maintaining faith in your abilities and your purpose, even when progress is slow or outcomes are uncertain. Self-belief becomes the anchor that allows you to weather storms and continue moving forward, transforming adversity into growth. This belief also cultivates independence. When you trust yourself, you rely less on the approval, guidance, or validation of others to make decisions or take action. You develop the confidence to pursue what matters most to you, even if it goes against conventional wisdom or popular opinion. Independence of thought, combined with self-belief, empowers you to innovate, lead, and take ownership of your life in a way that is authentic and self-directed. Belief in yourself encourages continuous learning and growth. When you trust your ability to improve, you embrace challenges as opportunities for development rather than threats to your competence. Mistakes are no longer feared as failures, but seen as invaluable lessons that refine your skills and expand your understanding. This mindset transforms setbacks into feedback, fostering a cycle of growth that reinforces both competence and confidence over time. The power of self-belief extends beyond personal achievement. It influences your ability to inspire and lead others. Confidence is contagious, and those who act with conviction often motivate others to recognize their own potential. By demonstrating faith in your abilities and vision, you create an environment where innovation, collaboration, and bold action are possible. Leaders who cultivate self-belief do more than succeed individually. They elevate the collective potential of those around them. Self-belief provides clarity in decision-making. When you trust your judgment, you are able to evaluate situations objectively, weigh risks effectively, and act decisively. Doubt clouds perception and paralyzes action, but confidence in your abilities allows you to approach challenges with clarity and focus. This clarity not only increases efficiency and effectiveness, but also reinforces your sense of control and competence. Belief in yourself is strengthened through repeated experience and reflection. Each time you achieve a goal, overcome a challenge, or take courageous action, your confidence grows. The evidence of your capabilities builds on itself, reinforcing the internal narrative that you are capable and resilient. Over time, this cycle of action and reinforcement creates an unshakable foundation of self-belief that supports increasingly ambitious goals. Self-belief encourages risk-taking and innovation. When you trust your potential, you are more willing to step into the unknown, explore new ideas, and challenge the status quo. Fear of failure diminishes because you understand that setbacks are part of the process, not a reflection of your worth. This willingness to take calculated risks often leads to breakthroughs, creative solutions, and opportunities that remain invisible to those who lack confidence in themselves. Ultimately, belief in yourself transforms how you experience life. It shapes your mindset, your choices, and your interactions, allowing you to approach challenges with courage, pursue goals with determination, and live a life defined by purpose rather than limitation. Self-belief is not just a personal advantage. It is the foundation for unlocking potential, achieving extraordinary results, and inspiring others to realize their own possibilities.